Welcome to Conversations, an initiative under the Caribbean Football Union's Girls Play Football campaign. It's a real Caribbean vibe celebrating our women and girls in football. Today, we're heading to Anguilla, where we're speaking with former Trinidad and Tobago national team player Akilah Milan. She's currently the Women's Development Officer and head coach of the Anguilla women's team. She played collegiate ball at the University of South Carolina and also professionally in Europe. I'm Mikel Brand Challenger, welcoming you to Conversations, and we'll be right back with the iconic Akilah Mollon right after this quick break.
They say I can do anything, just not this. That I'm not cut out for the rough and tumble. That it's unladylike and people will call me a tomboy. They say this is a phase I must outgrow because there's no future here for me. They say many things. But I look at Stephanie Dale Lee Singh and Princess Brown, Akilah Mollon, Wendy Renard, the Jamaica Reggae Girls, and the women on pitches across the Caribbean, on college campuses and wearing their national colors. Committed and proud. The exceptional ones. The journey women and the ones who simply feel alive on the pitch. They can't place limitations on me, because right here is where I choose to be.
Akilah, welcome to Conversations. How are you?
I'm fine, and thanks for having me.
Definitely. So I saw a blog post where you spoke about being a young girl with a ball at your feet and people saying, hey, what can a ball do for you? Before you tell me what the ball has done for you, what do you say now from where you're sitting to the naysayers?
Yeah, a ball could do so much. I would say to them that they lack faith. Once you have faith in what God has blessed you with, which is your talent and your blessing, then once you acknowledge what your blessing is, for me, it was football. Then that ball did so much for me, and I have so much to share that what the ball have done for me. So I would say to those naysayers, that they lack faith and they lack the understanding to know that God said that He will bless your blessings. So yeah.
All right. So we know you were playing as a young girl, you played national team, and we discussed all of that. So tell me a little bit in a nutshell about your journey in football.
Well, I started football like 19 years ago. Started kind of late. I played first secondary school football in Trinidad. I played for Holy Faith Convent there. Then I went on to play for Union Claxton Bay. From there, I was seen, went on a national team, made my first national debut at the age of 15 for the senior women national team. I remember going to the US and having to play against the US. Previously, before my generation, my country used to be beaten like 11, 13, all these numbers by the USA. And my generation, we said, we're going to put a no to that, those last numbers and try to catch up to them. So I remember my first tour with the senior national team was the CONCACAF tournament. And our first game was against the mighty USA. I remember watching these girls on TV, Tiffany Milbert and Mia Hamm, and just to be able at the age of 15 to grace the field with these legends, it was just amazing. Abby Wambach, all of those great players, So from there I was seen to go on a scholarship, but I was obviously too young, go on a scholarship by 17 when I finished secondary school. So from there I went to one of the top university, top junior college in America. I went to Young Harris College where I was very successful there. I was #1 goal scorer in the United States with 56 goals and 23 assists. So coming out of junior college, I had a lot of offers, a lot of offers. And then I finally settled on the University of South Carolina. I went there, I was the home of the Gamecocks. I did my degree there in psychology. So I did my associate degree at Young Harris in education, and now I did my bachelor's in psychology. From there, I would play junior summers with the Charlotte Eagles in North Carolina, semi-professional. And then from there, I was seen as well to go to Europe. I then ventured to Sweden, where I played in Sweden, my collegiate ball there, where I played my professional first season there in 2009, I meant. Won the league there, got promoted to the Division 1 there. Spent 5 years in Sweden. I played in Iceland, Norway, and now my journey to coaching.
That's fantastic. I've seen the word passionate being used to describe you. So what drives that passion?
To be honest, yeah, my faith. My faith does. For me, just knowing that God blessed me this, and I want to be able to use up everything that He has given me. That motivates me. You know, I have a lot of things that motivates and inspire this passion. But just understanding and realizing, you know, to know that God took His time to bless you with something like football that is universal, that everybody, you know, enjoys this beautiful game, you know, and to know that you possess that ability to play and also to be a role model and also to be example to these kids, as you say, with that ball. For me, this drive, this motivation. So I want to be able to use up every ounce of my ability to bring glory unto God and use that to reach people and reach the youths. I love working with youths in the football. So yeah, that motivates that passion and harvest it.
Okay, and I saw that you said you take nothing for granted. There's some people who may say, oh, someone is lucky, but based on your groundings in faith, then I think you would say that you're blessed. So when you're counting your blessings, what are the things that you're looking at? What's on that list?
A lot of things I count my family, first and foremost. Well, before my family, I would say for me to understand and appreciate things, I first need to understand, like, first out, my blessing is knowing God. So that's my relationship with God. And then my family have always been supportive, keeping me grounded, keeping me focused. You know, I have some really incredible people in my life. I could call friends who help keep me grounded and keep me focused and help push that extra drive, because not every day is going to be perfect. Some days is going to be hard. I thought when I was a player, you know, those sleepless nights of thinking about going and score, set up goals and all these different things will go away. But I'm learning that even coaching is even a lot worse, you know, because, you know, at the end of the day, you could do all that you could do. You could do all that you could have done all for those players. But at the end of the day, they're the ones that have to go outside there and play. So you could put on the best sessions, you can motivate them how much you want, but you could have a player show up on game night and he or she decides not to play, you know. So yeah, so that anxiety, you know, I thought would have went away from when playing days, but it actually increased as a coach, because when you're a player, you can control your performance, you know, but when you're a coach, you can't control that, you know, so you rely on your players for that. So yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that transition, as you said, from player to now being a coach. So yeah, player, you kind of felt like, yeah, it's you and your team, but a lot is you and that. So what's the difference, the fundamental difference?
Like I mentioned previously, the fundamental difference is, as a coach now, you have to get, like, our traveling team is 20 players and then 7 staff. So it's not just the players, it's about picking the right supporting staff first to drive that your vision and philosophy as a coach. So for me, one, your staff is very important, because you don't want to be ruined and then you have members drilling, you know, and water sipping in. So first is establishing a support system first for yourself. And once you do that, now it will transcend or share with the players. So I think with coaching now, we have a lot more management involved, because now you have to manage staff and then you have to manage players. Now you have 20 players going on a trip, 20 different personalities. And you know, we females, they have a time of the month where a period comes. So you have to deal with all these emotions, all these different, especially if all of them get in a period around the same time, you know. So, you know, so you have to manage all these different minds, these different personalities, and now you have to get them to work together. But when you are playing, yes, you have to find ways to work with your teammates. But like I said, you can more control what you give, you know. But as a coach, it's not just about you, it's about the whole team and getting that whole team to function as one. So yeah. So when you're a player now, when you're a player, my coach had to deal with what I am dealing now as a coach, to get all these to work together. But now, in a different light, I have to get all these players now, all these staff to work together for the common good, for the common success of the team, you know. So that is the difference.
So you're calling on your studies, your training, your degree in psychology, your experience as a player, running an academy, and everything that you're bringing to this position as development officer and coach.
Yeah, I recall when I was in university, my mom wanted me to study physical education because she said, you know, when you pick a degree, you have to think about, like me, I was studying in the States. So eventually I would have to head back home. So I had now to pick a profession that would most likely give me an opportunity to get in line to get a job back home if football didn't work out as plan B. You know, so for me, my mom wanted me to at least try physical education because there's always a need for it in Trinidad. But I don't know. I told her there was something inside of me just was like, no, you need to study psychology. So I'm now looking back, I don't regret it because now I could take all that I've learned through my education as well and now implement it with these young minds and try to encourage them, not only from a spiritual, not only from a humanistic point of view, but also from a behavioral perspective of it, you know.
You spoke about having this plan B, but when did you first know that football was your love?
Okay, in Trinidad, okay, I was very fast. My asset is my speed. I was a very fast player. That's my asset. So as a player, as a coach, just anything in life, you need to know what's your asset and your liability. So for me, my asset was my speed. As a very fast player. So I think if I did stick with track and field, I might have gave you some both to run for his money as well, you know. But I decided to, you know, to think football. I think the turning point for me is in Trinidad, I used to rush home from school to go and play with the boys and them on the streets. And we used to play like 4v4 on the streets. And then once your team get knocked out, it's just so many other teams to come in before your turn come back up. And when I noticed, like, I would go set with all these boys and all of them would want me to be on their team, you know. So for me, you know, as a girl, these guys, if you run good, they don't want you to play. But I was like a hot number then, you would call it, you know. So for me, that was like the turning point for me to realize that I was accepted by the boys. I could have rolled with them, you know. I wasn't put to the side, or she can't play. No, I was like, I was in it. I was in it, you know. And my team would always stay on the low, you know. So yeah, that made me feel appreciated. I was like, yeah, I need to do something with this talent, you know.
So then you went from playing in, you know, secondary school, national team at 15, really young, breaking in and playing with names that would come into the pantheon of stars in the football universe. How did that spur you on in terms of saying, yes, I really could do this, leading to you going to college in the States, first junior college, and then to a 4-year school?
That's a good question. To be honest with you, I was always a go-getter. So once I realized what I'm working with, which is my potential, and that first tournament when my then coach Jamal Shabazz, you know, he's a household name in the Caribbean. So he's for women football, for male football. When he announced that the tournament, the USA, we were facing the mighty USA and all these different things. Obviously, I'm still young in football, so I didn't know too in depth about them. So I was going off of my knowledge of my coach, and then what I'll go look on YouTube. So the moment that I graced the field on them, the moment that I graced the field playing against the USA, and seeing and being able to measure where they at and where I need to be at a young age, and realizing now that I wasn't far behind, you know, was my turning point to like my growth in the game in terms of playing collegiate and playing professional, because now you get to rumble with the best, you know. So for me, I was able to calm my nerve during the game when I realized that I could use my assets to my ability. So just playing the US actually was a turning point for me, because at that time, not at that time, even now, they're like one of the best teams in the world. And to be able to grace the field with these skills in them and to know that you could compete with them was like a turning point. And after that, I just had the confidence to rumble, to play. You know?
That's fantastic, just having that confidence and that ability to yourself. Now you're sitting as a development officer and a coach. How do you help to imbue the girls and women that you come across with that kind of confidence and belief in themselves?
Yeah, that's one of the challenges I'm facing here, I must admit. Because I myself, not everyone could receive a person who is always optimistic about things, because they'll think like, oh, that person, you know. But for me, it have a saying, everybody wants to go for the stars, well, what about the moon? So for me, it's about instilling the skills, and I'm here, the understanding to know that greatness don't have a day off, you know. Being the best to have a day off, and every chapter in your life will create different types of people. There's some friends, there's some family, there's some, sorry to say family too, but is it true? There's some people that can go with you to the next level. So for me, having that experience, because everybody wants to cut down the personality top, because as I explained to them, before something gets to the top or before something ripe, it was once green. So I explained to them, do you want to stay green that no one wants to pick you or eat you? Or do you want to be ripe that's everybody wants? So for me, it's just instilling in them that confidence to know that even if you try something and you fail, you just have to keep going. Practice don't make perfect, but practice makes permanent. And for me, I fall along many times, many, many times. But there's a part in football that everybody neglects at times. When you talk about the whole cognitive, the physical, the social, the behavior, everything. But there's a side, the spiritual side, and everything have a spiritual aspect to it. So I more try to tap into that part of it for my strength and my because God said He'll bless the desire in their heart. A lot of people lack confidence because they don't know the truth. And I try to learn the truth. And the truth is, God said, I'll bless your works in front of your enemies. I'll make them a footstool. So for me, I try and incorporate that whole holistic development of them that, hey, you know what? You just need to go outside there and do what you're going to do,
That's fantastic. A disappointing qualification campaign kind of led you to a watershed moment where you had to determine what next. Am I going to keep playing? Am I going to go back to Trinidad, go back to Europe, coach? What next? And it led you to making a decision and to forming your own academy. I see you wearing the shirt, M12 Revolution. The name alone is a whole sermon. But what was that thought process that led you now to forming your own club?
It was it was a hard decision. To be honest, after going to my family, football is like all I know. So after that campaign in 2015, it was truly, truly difficult because we became so close. We came so close to, we went to Ecuador, drew them up there, and we were so sure that we were gonna catch them home, we were catch them home. And I think I'm a kind of person where if I feel I give it my all, I give it my all. And I was at a stage, not only my all, but I was a stage age-wise, not that I'm too old, I just felt at that point in time, I needed to pass on the baton to the others. I said that's the only click I don't have my name is being able to play in a World Cup. But if I can't play in a World Cup, I will coach a team that will play in a World Cup. So I kind of turned that negative into a positive that, okay, I didn't do it, but I need to motivate others to do it, And even if I don't coach a team in a World Cup, I will coach players that would one day play in a World Cup. So you see, the nice thing about football is it doesn't end if you want it as a player. It continues. There's space for you. Once you love the game and willing to work hard, there's space for you in all departments of the football. So as much as it was a disappointing campaign for me, there were more doors to be opened for opportunities to continue in this beautiful game.
That's great. Is the academy?
That kind of led me, to answer your question, that kind of led me to establish my academy with that mentality that, okay, I give it my all. At that point in time, I would have given 16 years of being in a structured environment to football. 16 years is a long time. And I think at that point in time, I was ready to move on and help others achieve their goals.
Is the academy still functioning with you being in Anguilla?
Yes, so I have some coaches. Because I know that wasn't where I was supposed to be, like in terms of I was supposed to be there for a period establishing it, and I would still be there continuous. But I'm wise enough to know that I know God, that would not have been my final chapter. So I was wise enough to like mentor and to train my colleagues in those positions that they know they run it. So my parents, when I say parents, like the kids in the academy, parents, they say, wow, the academy runs like if you're pretty much here. So I make sure I over the years, so it's about 5 years, I made sure that the person who mimic everything I do. So pretty much is like a clone. So yeah, it's Rhonda and she runs everything, and yeah.
That's fantastic. So now, how did you arrive at this position in Anguilla, and how's it going now versus how it started?
Everything is networking. So once you put your product outside there and you have, I mean, sorry to say, but we live in a world now where everything is networking. So I have a colleague that, or actually she was supposed to be here, but she's already linked to another program. So she put them on to me. And yeah, I'm here today. It came at the right time, meaning we were locked down in Trinidad because of the pandemic. And I got to be honest, it might have been hard for me to leave my academy then to come. But like I said, it came at the right time where, God was just showing me that this is the opportunity now to go outside there. And when I came here, Anguilla had no COVID cases or anything. So I was able to function as normal. It's only now they have a few cases, but before no cases. So they were able to function normal. So that in a sense was a sign that, and Trinidad has been in lockdown for a great period of time. So how it started now, just putting a lot of structure in place, creating opportunities for girls to go outside there for their education, and to just try to, inspire a generation of younger players here. They're very supportive, I must say. The association is very, the president, Mr. Gordon, I must say he supports the women program here 100%. Claudina, who's the head of women's football here, she's also doing an amazing job. So I must say the support I'm receiving is amazing. And yeah, it just shows in the future where women football here could go in Anguilla.
Congratulations on that job that you're doing. But tell me now, football has taken you to different spheres, different parts of the world. So a Trinidadian girl going to the US, where it's a different construct, then you've been to far-flung corners of Europe. What has it been like from a cultural, emotional, athletic perspective, walking between all of these worlds? And have you faced, and how did you deal with issues like maybe racism and sexism on your journey?
Wow. I know it really, I learned a lot from language barrier to sexism to being the only Black person on the team on numerous times to being class too strong, too strong, like the world requires to be strong and your class is strong, or ironic is that, but yeah, it's been tough. I must say it's been tough at sometimes lonely at a lot of times, because I remember my first experience in Sweden where you're going into, one plane ride from Trinidad where it's hot, and then you're in Sweden, boom, and the same day you have to go to a game where it's like -5 degrees weather, and they expect a lot, especially when they bring it in, so from that perspective, it's been challenging to say the least, but it's also been an adventure. I think life should be an adventure, and people say the start, the finish, but I think it's the things that you do in between. So this is the in between. So yeah, I'm trying to enjoy the in between because it have a saying where you would sit in your old days will show where you have been in your young days. So I am in younger days, so I'm trying to enjoy this journey. So one day, when I'm older, God bless my days ahead, that I could look back and say, I experienced it, and now I can enjoy my older days. So it's been challenging, but it's been an adventure, I must say. Meeting new people, it's not just about winning and losing. It's also about character. Like I tell the players I'm here, if every time you come to the field and all you see is the ball, then you are lost. A lot of people base a lot of emphasis on winning and losing, but also football is definitely a tool to reach people in ways that they might, like some players mightn't have the relationship they have at home, like they have with their teammates. They mightn't have anybody motivating them in a positive way. A lot of players here are like, coach, can you be my mentor? So there's these different things have been a good representation that they could look up to. Yeah, it's not just about the ball, but it's about, I'm big on the human, because at the end of the day, not all of them is going to make it. They're not going to make, not every one of them going to make it, but you could save a life. You can inspire a life to change, because some of the things you learn in football, you could do it in your life. I've learned a lot of things. I learned about discipline, a lot about hard work, a lot about being persistent, being courageous, all these different things. I learned it because of football, being in that disciplined environment.
So it sounds fulfilling. It sounds like your journey from where you started and where you are now, it sounds like at the core of it, you have fulfillment.
Yeah, I have a lot of fulfillment. I have a lot. Like I said, a lot of things. Football give me everything I have. Everything. I've never done anything else. So I met, like I said, on this walk thus far, I've met some incredible human beings. I think life is about relationships, and football brings people together. Sport brings people together, and I can't trade that for nothing in the world. You can have a big house, sit in it, enjoy all those things in your big house, but what about meeting people? What about experiencing other cultures? And a ball did that for me and continue to do that for me. Put bread in my mouth. So I can only give to what give to me. So I just inspire them to know that football, some people that see a ball, because some people who are not educated about football, meaning parents, and some folks think that, oh, you guys just running after a ball. But you must be a living example that it's not just a ball, it's actually a career. You can actually make a career out of football.
And what an example you are. What a fantastic example you are. This is just our section, our rapid round, where we get to know just a little bit more about you. So tell me, if you're not working or doing something related to football, what are you doing?
Shooting pool. I love shooting pool.
Nice. What's your personal mantra?
Some might play right side, some might play left side, but none shall touch you.
From your earliest memories, when you were a little girl, what did you want to be?
I want to be like my mom. Just the way she took care of us. I just wanted to be like her. Like, yes, I wanted a lot of things, but I just wanted to be like my mom. She's amazing.
That's great. What's your favorite genre of music?
Oh, I love slow. Celine Dion any day. Give it to me.
Books, movies, or music?
Movies, horror, to be precise.
Horror movies. Oh, wow. What do you miss most about being home in Trinidad?
My family. I'm very big on family.
What's your favorite meal?
Crab and dumpling. I love crab. I have a weakness for curry. I love curry.
What's the most daring thing you've ever done?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good, no, I can't recall. I guess with a country that doesn't speak English, Sweden, Norway, Iceland, learning that there is for sure.
Okay, you have 3 wishes. What are you asking for?
My mother to live long life. My mother, I'm big on my mother. My mother to live a long life. Me to use up every ounce of what God blessed me with. And 2, everybody that I come in contact with, may I leave an impression of positivity on them.
And finally, what would your superpower be if you can pick a superpower from a bag?
Be able to go all over the world and give everybody hugs. That'll be a superpower. Yeah, because there's some people that need hugs. Maybe in Africa who have some tough living, or Mexico. Yeah, hugs. Everybody need a hug. Everybody need a shoulder.
That's fantastic. Everybody needing a shoulder. And we can see that you're doing that with your academy in Trinidad, with your work in football, and definitely what you're doing there in Anguilla. Thank you so much for being a good sport, for joining this conversation. It was a pleasure, and we'll keep looking out to see what happens with you.
All right, and thanks. And thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
And that's where we'll leave our conversations with Akilah Mollon. She's down there in Anguilla, the Director of Development, and also the head coach of the Anguilla women's team, a bright spark in Caribbean football, and certainly a shining example for our women and girls. That's it. I'm the Cal Brand Challenger. Until our next conversation, continue to support our women and girls in Caribbean football.